Hello, it's Miss Music, and I bet you have been waiting for this. We finally get to edit the song that I have been working on this whole year, Eldest Daughters. And as I go through, I will show you how I'm editing it. So, as you can see, I already have my vocals. That's what we're going to focus on today. In my next episode, I will be adding the piano part and making them sound concise, make them sound together. So, in one of my previous episodes, I have shown you Studio One, which this is the recording and editing software that we would use at the college I go to. And you see up at the top, there's audio track. The way I got this in was I pressed track. It would pop this up. I named it vocals, but I can go ahead and name one piano for our piano track. For the format, you could do mono, you could do stereo. I'd suggest doing stereo because you're able to eventually pan how you want your audio to sound. And you just press OK, and voila, it pops up right there. Now, let's get into editing this track here. So, if you're actually wanting to mix, you click down here and it pops up what tracks you have. This is for piano. We're not focusing on that since there's nothing there. But this is vocals. So this is what it sounds like, just straight. No editing, nothing. So it's not the best sounding. Obviously, I was using this microphone, not one that I would use, but for the sake of editing, I am using my headphone microphone. You heard it was cutting in and out. There's things that we could do to fix that. So I am wanting to insert a compression. Or actually, first, let me do EQ. I can use this and it drops like, oh, you don't have that much of a low voice. Like you can drop it here. As you see, the further I draw this side, the more this shows. This shows, the more this goes this way. You could do it with any of these colors actually, but low cut frequency, then there's your low frequency. This is the lowest of the low, like your bass hitting levels. And then you have your high cut. Because my voice isn't that high, I can also do a high cut. So this is high and this is low. Yes, that does sound confusing, but it is worth it due to the fact of if you do not sing in those pitches, you want those to be out so that it's not picking up in the track. All right, let's see if that changed anything. So if you saw from the levels, they were about in this general area. They were peaking up, and a thing we can do, we take these other frequencies. Let's do this one. So that one is going to be this right here. I can move it over here. So It was peaking about here. So, and I'm going to actually do a retake of this because of the fact of it doesn't sound clean like I want it. Obviously, it doesn't have to be like perfect when you record it, but for you to actually be able to edit it, you need to make sure it's something you can work with. And it's cutting in and out too much, so I'm going to actually re-record it. So, I'm going to delete this. Press record on here. And you're going to get to actually hear my true voice, how I actually sound when I sing. If it will allow me to. In the realm of daughters we stand tall and proud, the eldest of sisters with strength unbowed. Through trials and pain we've learned to endure, with hearts so resilient, steadfast and sure. Eldest daughters we carry the weight, through the storms of life we navigate. With grace and resilience we rise above. In the face of adversity we find love. From a tender age, vows we embrace, shielding our siblings with love and grace. We shoulder burdens both seen and unseen, guarding our family like a beacon serene. Eldest daughters, we carry the weight. Through the storms of life we navigate. With grace and resilience we rise above. In the face of adversity we find love. Though the pain may linger, we hold our heads high. For within our hearts a fire will never die. We are warriors, fighters with unyielding mind, protecting our loved ones throughout the night. Through the trials we face, we grow strong and wise, empowering others, wiping tears from their eyes. We find solace in knowing that we're not alone. United in sisterhood, our strength has grown. Eldest daughters, we carry the weight. Through the storms of life we navigate. With grace and resilience we rise above. In the face of adversity we find love. So let us celebrate our sisterhood so true. Eldest daughters will always pull through, for in our hearts a flame will always burn, lighting the pathway as we continue to learn. Continue to learn. And that's how you record something in Studio. Now, for you want to hear it, you just press the space button. Obviously, make sure you go back to the beginning of it. So you see, it sounds a lot clearer. There's still little hiccups in it. I'm going to edit this like I can, but I am going to go back and record on a different microphone and edit it the way I will show you today. So what I'm wanting to do is, again, let me go back to the mix. Let me EQ it. You're supposed to show up. I'm not understanding why you're doing that. There we go. Okay. So let me turn you off. So if we listen to it like from here. So as you saw, I brought it over here and found a high point. Now what we usually do in audio is we find these high points and we will just lower it down so it's not so pitchy as if we want to, as we say. It's just making sure that one section doesn't stand out in your vocal range because we hear things in something called hertz, which you can hear from, if I'm correct, 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, which is a really wide range. And as you see on the bottom of the screen, there's 50 hertz, 100, 200, 500, so on and so forth. So it it's starting to peak about right there. And we can move like that. We can also pinpoint a certain frequency if needed. So you can use all these different ones. Like, say I want to bring out this section over here. I just you hear how it sounds more radio, more staticky. I can turn this off. That's what it sounds like now, but I'll turn it back on. And it sounds completely different. Now, some people may be looking for a kind of radio kind of sound, but what I'm trying to go for is something that you'll hear on, like you would hear at a concert. So let me let me bring that back because it does come up here some. Same with this one. I do go somewhat low. So I'm about there. Now something I can do is there's the EQ and then you can add a compressor, which when you hear it, this blue dot you see moving, that's your voice. That's how it hits on this thing. Now there's an attack, which that's it. That's your voice picking up on the compressor. And you see all these different knobs. By a certain point, the sound will compress itself so that it's not as strong. It's still the same sounding, but it's not as hard hitting, if that makes sense. I'm not going to mess with these nor the threshold as much. It's more the fact of when will this compressor kick in. As you see, it's not as strong vocally, but I hope this helps with you. I hope what I'm showing you and how to edit, how it helps you in the next episode, which I'm probably going to make this a 3-part just so that this was like showing you how to record on the software and some of the things that I will be using actually editing. And I will show you, I'll have my actual vocals that I'm recording, my piano that I'm going to use, and I'm actually going to have it in the computer already in this tracks, and you get to see how it's set, and I will edit. I will go through each one of the tracks and edit how I want it to sound. I hope this has helped you, and I'll see you in my next episode.